Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, Psych Defender of the Fatherland, off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma. Between, in the West, we got here Tiramisu, though he's calling himself something else. He keeps changing his name, so I'm just calling him Tiramisu. That's probably one of the least rude versions he's chosen of his name. Here, fighting for America, freedom and democracy, taking on the role here of the 3rd Armour Division. Versus these, we got CSAF, fighting for the Oberkommand West Germany. Deutschland taking on the role here of the Panzerdivision with Feuersturm. And we got a double Sturmpioneer start. Like, they're going to go for some flamethrowers to his Sturmpioniere. That way, adding some firepower in there that can burn through the Yankees and all of their fat. Quick move up here towards the northern compartment. They're going to try and pressure Tiramisu around his fuel and cut-off point. Also note he's setting up bar-wise, so that way can't, be easily pushed out of there. Sex jump on the squad following up. Kuvan then moving in there for Caesar as well. Aggressive setup there, though, of course. It does mean, while he does have more firepower, as we might be noticing, map control-wise, or at least grabbing map, he's going to be falling behind Tiramisu. He's actually gone straight for armor doctrine. Double rifle start there for Tiramisu. Getting a few more points. They got the northern mission, that's always going to need to be connected. Kuvan almost down there for Caesar. Sturmpioniere setting out, occupying the house there. Can soon hit up for the fuel. We got tank traps and barbed wire there, consistently being laid down by Tiramisu. That way, trying to prepare the battlefields ahead. Obviously, anticipating that his opponent's going to be attacking around his cut-off points. In that regard, Tiramisu is not exactly new to this, obviously. Fult's going to be following up there for Caesar. He's not going to go for too many Sturmpioniere. With a 3rd rifle squad on the way there for Tiramisu. Interesting enough, he's ignoring the Sturmpioneers that are threatening his cut-off point and fuel point there. Possibly just going to think he can just pull off the same trick there on Caesar. Caesar then charging his Kubwagen. I don't think that was the best move there by him, to be honest. Then again, he wasn't paying attention, just did it ahead anyways. Trying to bait them into the Sturmpioneer, but that's not working out there at all. So, bit of an awkward start in some ways there for Caesar. We got the Volksgrenadiers out there for the German army, the Panzerlehr Panzerdivision. Rifleman striking forwards there. M1 Garand seized tightly in their hands. And Sturmpanzer fixing up the Kubelwagen. Fulton moving in there with their K98Ks. Going to hit the point here. Grabbing the centre victory point with the Rifleman. Grabbing the southern fuel point using the Sturmpioneers. I mean, this is where you're going to say just move the Sturmpioneers up to support this first squad and then use the Kuban to secure territory, since it does have a faster territory capture rate. Instead, he's ended up using Sturmpioneer squad number 2 to grab territory, which overall I describe as less efficient. In fact, he's setting up the Volksgrenadiers instead of the Sturmpioneers support up here. And now we can see Caesar's getting slightly surrounded. We also got assault engineers out here for Tiramisu, calling in some close quarters infantry in the early game with their grease guns. A sight machine gun that was meant to replace the Thompson, which was too heavy and too expensive to make, amongst other things. It was powerful, and this one lies for the same, but the Thompson was just much too heavy, which rather made it impractical as a sight machine gun if it's too heavy, for starters. Fulton versus Rifleman in the south, they get point secured with the Sturmpioneer. Kuban moved down there, find secure some territory there. So we've sort of got an awkward setup. Caesar's got his sort of units dug in here and there, but can't really push further ahead. Again, I think you should just try to put the 2 Sturmpioneer squads together, sort of more combined force. That and push ahead, gain more local firepower superiority when he could have. Instead, he just sort of managed to dilute his forces sufficient here that Tiramisu could easily bog him down and deal with him. So now the sharpest side. They got flamethrowers up there inside the house, which requires the Americans then to walk up to the flamethrower, which I imagine Tiramisu is not going to be particularly keen on. Herr American, come up here to play. We totally don't have a Flammenwerfer. Hey, he said he didn't have a flamethrower. He's lying, Carl. Don't listen to the Germans. That's what my mother always used to say as well. Well, for good reason. More folks arriving there for Caesar. Sturmpioneers hanging about here. Got the assault. He's moving flamethrower of their own. Otherwise, it's going to be flamethrower. A flamethrower. He's going to need to pop out there into the open. There we go. He actually got the kill there. Joe went down. Who's going to win this? Going to be pretty close there. And then the Sturmpioneers lose out. The assault engineers have the advantage up close with their grease guns compared to the Sturmpioneer. Rifleman falls back here. Got to push up for the south. The Sturmpioneers flanking the Rifleman there, forcing them to fall back into safer territory where there's less Germans with less guns. Moving up to secure territory. Troops making their way back for reinforcement. They'll probably need some medical kits being laid down there by the Sturmpioneer. Slow advance up through here. Rifleman occupying the house, thus making the centre a bit more of a kill zone there. Overall, Caesar might just want to try and put more pressure around the northern half, which is where, Tiramisu doesn't have a lot of his forces. They're more concentrated around the centre. So if Caesar were just to attack northwards, that would try to circumvent. Tiramisu would probably do a lot better. And there you go. Got the assault units pushed back. Probably going to try and rush for the house here. That would probably the Volksgruppers benefit better. In fact, probably do better than the Sturmpioniere, since they do have more effective range thanks to the bolt action rifles compared to the Sturmgewehrs. Back here, reinforcement healing going. Got a truck out there. Could be a mechanized regiment into Lux, or could be a battle group headquarters, considering Caesar does have a lot of infantry. Captain out here for Tiramisu. That's probably because he's anticipating a Lux and thusly wants the Steward out to counter it. Definitely not the wrong approach there by Tiramisu. And the 3rd Armoured Division. Captain spearheading the way there. Rifle in the rear, dutifully following their glorious captain. Folks there, Sturmpion moving in. Captain there quickly up to the rear, at the same time the rifle push on for the cuff point. Further falling back here. Not a lot of cuff points to use, and that would be beneficial here for Caesar. They might want to pull up the force a bit further. Got the Sturmpion time from the south. Need to keep his forces a bit more coordinated there, trying to pull into their big cover. Sturmpion moving up. Volksgruppers not supporting there. But there you go, you can see there most of Tiramisu's forces are retreating, the Sturmpions are themselves being forced away. 3 kills there, veteran going for the Sturmpioniere, stop up. Got a bit too close, I think, too much fire there from the captain, his Thompson and whatnot, but still getting some damage in there. They're too bunched up, by which means the flamethrower becomes a lot more effective here for Caesar. That's the thing to remember, of course, flamethrower weapons are AoE weapons. Meaning, you know, if your troops are too bunched up in cover, even if it's light cover, they'll just, you know, take more damage because then the flamethrower will just naturally affect more targets. You almost got the captain there. It's almost also veteran 2 on the Sturmpioniere. Back here, reinforcement healing. It is indeed the mechanized regiment in that regard. While Caesar is going for a slightly different opening and certainly standing out a bit there, I mean, his sort of early to mid game plan is pretty much the same as most other Oberkommandos players, which is, you know, to push out. It looks also big thanks to Treehead for donating and supporting the Propagandacast. While remember it, big thanks Treehead, most appreciated for your generous donation. Kuban netting pressure by the rifle here. We got the Sturmpioniere tracking force, more flamethrowers on the way there. On a map like this, for example, the flamethrowers will be quite helpful there for Caesar. Damage suffered there. Flamethrowers versus flamethrowers. In this case, the Sturmpioniere will have the upper hand. In particular, there's only one window they can fire through there. In this case, they should have just attacked as soon as possible. Oh, there we go, up close. But again, gets within the effective range of the assault units again, which means they can do more damage. That's one thing to remember there. There's one thing to remember. Most submachine gun units can beat assault rifle units in close quarters, so you generally don't want to get up close. You want to sort of fight them at medium range with the assault rifles. Sturmpioniers are a bit rougher since obviously they don't quite have the same medium range as most others, but you still gotta try for it. And there goes Stuart on the way there for Tiramisu. Lux Aufklärungspanzer on the way there for Caesar and the Panzer Division, which is actually one of the few divisions to actually receive the Lux. Most Panzer divisions actually did not. There's many where that produced. There's of course also the Czechoslovakian version, sort of a constant tank there, based on the Panzer 38T, which more or less was like the Lux, just slightly less encased turret, more like the 222's turret. Got a fighting position going off there around the car point there. Tiramisu, they're aiming for aggression here versus Caesar. And there you go, rifle grenades being fired from the fighting position. Got the soldiers flanking from the north, but then again out and open now. Sturmpioniere taking more effective flank position because the negative cover. Needs to clear out. He needs to flank this probably so it doesn't get caught in front of the machine gun if it goes up. We got the Lux out here. We got pressure up north here. Fulton being surrounded by American troops. So only a spirited start here between Caesar and Tiramisu. There you go, doing some damage. Fighting position burned up. He might at this point actually just consider cancelling the upgrade there before he ends up wasting it. Stuart moving in there. That's going to be a problem here though for Caesar because he's got no anti-tank. And there you go, but he cancels it. Almost got the fighting position there. And down it goes. Folks moving up there, but no munitions for a Panzerfaust. Caesar here is in a bit of a sticky position. I mean, he saw the captain, but he didn't go for a Kednev when he could have to, counter it. So the Steward here will certainly aid Tiramisu in the early game versus Caesar. And the Panzer Division up north here. Folks is falling back. Sturmpioniere is ready to support there with their Flammenwerfer. And the other Sturmpioniere squad falling back. There should be two at least close towards it. Not sure what's moving them down there to assist versus the Steward. The flamethrower is not going to be useful there, sadly. In the actual war, though, I do believe flamethrowers were recently effective weapons versus tanks. I'm not entirely sure how they were utilised in that sense, but they were, from my understanding. Kuba looks going to need some repairs. Kednev have done for reinforcing. But overall, Tiramisu has got a strong hand here versus Caesar. The Steward there doing a lot to support his infantry versus those damnable Germans. Fixing up the Lux. Kednev have been carted forts there by Caesar's men. Mine goes off here, so it has mined a bit. That's good. Killing a few riflemen there, slowing down Tiramisu's push for the south. And Lakedinov moving up. They should up with the Stuart. Of course, got a lot of infantry supporting the Stuart. Very good. Looks good to go. Sturmpioniere setting out. Gonna have a large engagement here, though. Folks are done. The assault units will definitely be the right priority here by Caesar. Lakedinov landing good hitting the Stuart. And we got the Lukes there now, pelting the American infantry with heavy firepower there. But the fuel pond on the south has been cut off there by the captain, noting it's not been upgraded with the bazooka, though we do have Viersons with a bazooka. Interesting. Steel Empires moving north. So they're arriving caught out on their own, and the Steel Empires actually getting closer to veteran 3. In that regard, the flamethrowers do help the Steel Empires sort of make up for one of the lackings, which is they tend to veterans up really slow. But if you can get a flamethrower on them pretty quick and actually do some damage with that one, they tend to sort of veterans up much faster than normal, and that tends to be pretty good for them. Bazooka fire then, the looks pushed a bit too far ahead. In fact, gets within range of the anti-tank rifle grenade. Damaged engine, bit unfortunate there. Needs to get troops up to support. Back here, reinforcement going on, and Steel Empire there securing territory, but getting very close to veterans 3. And another Steel Empire squad moving ahead here. Planning for getting there to Stuart somewhere operating behind enemy lines. Moving up towards the centre there. Veterans 1. 0 kills though. And there goes Stuart moving up to deal with Sturmpioniere. Volkswagen is advancing instead. And here in the centre. Looks like the Viersons actually got wiped there. Might have been a flank or something else. Either way, they are dead. Gone. Tiramisu is now without his bazooka team. Caesar following up with an MG-34. He is a bit behind in fuel, so opposite trying to contain the infantry, though. Getting out some anti-tank weapons would also, I think, benefit Caesar majestically here versus Tiramisu. His assault engineers still probing the southern half of the map, looking for weak spots to breach and secure. Again, everyone on his own. Gonna need support. Troops reinforcing, healing, and a bit slow. They're getting the looks repaired. The faster they can get that back into action, obviously, the better. Looks like here Tiramisu is just not going to focus on the centre. Instead, it's going to hit the south there, wreck it open, which I think is the right idea. Though in this case, Caesar has seen through Tiramisu's plans and setting up the MG-34 there to stall and deal with them, buy more time to get the rest of his forces in order. If just they could see them and deal with them. There you go. A soldier's being pinned down behind heavy cover at the same time, rather than going for the fuel. Looks good to go. Sturmpioniere is more or less good to go. One squad needs some reinforcements. Troops heading northwards as well. They're going to hit the calf points. Sneaking behind Tiramisu while he's attacking Caesar. That's definitely some good tactical approach there by Caesar. Just a sort of cheaper squad there. That way forcing Tiramisu to have to split up his attention as well. And, divert forces away from the attack towards the defence. So that was a nice move there by Caesar. Very nice. Now I just need to deal with the rifleman. Pushing up towards the centre here. Need some more infantry support here as the rifleman. He's going to need a flamethrower team or something otherwise to flash them out. And sadly sending everything now towards here. They've got a damaged engine. Moving up like Lakedinov to try and get the Sturmpioniere with flame efforts moving up. Good hit there. Good hit there. Almost got it. Brandhunt got it. Oh, doesn't have the munitions. Actually something here that Caesar's quite lacking a lot here is munitions. There you go, flamethrowers dealing there with the rifleman. Sturmpioniere spotting it for Lakedinov. And there you go, he gets the Stuart. Nice move there, and he's cut off the northern fuel. Small victory there for Caesar and the Panzer Panzer Division. Meanwhile, though, Tiramisu, bringing up anti-tank guns, the M1. Sturmpires occupying the house here. Very close to 16 kills. Looks rolling ahead. Probably looking for some easy targets. We've got more pressure in the south around his own fuel point. Heading the point here, and we got Sturmpioniere moving southwards, halfway to veterancy 2 themselves. Rendering the point there neutral, just to deny Tiramisu as many resources. Now the MG-34 to help deal with all the infantry, probably to help defend the fuel. Folks on there, go flamethrower and looks fire there. Decimates the captain's unit. Sending them all scurrying away there. Bit of firing around the centre. Gained veteran 3, but there's just too many Americans and not enough suppressive firepower to stop here all the things Tiramisu was throwing at Caesar. He's going to need to take up soon. He could if you go for flamheads now, but that'd be a bit too risky. And meanwhile, Tiramisu's ticked up here, going for the Major. He's going to be able to get up Sherman soon enough. Though cutting off the fuel is certainly going to help stall that a bit there for Caesar. So we've got the northern fuel point, but not the southern one. Troops back there for healing enforcement. And rather than getting slowly plastered with autocannon fire to tank and shoots and majestically misses the looks by a fair margin. Second shot, though, penetrates the looks frontal armour. Up here, further fighting. Troops moving in, flanking, counter-attacking. Southern field will be caught there by the MG-34. And the Volks will most certainly, I think, need to retreat soon enough. Now they can remember for the Caesar, certainly taking no chance there versus Tiramisu, who does have a fat fuel lead over Caesar and the Panzerlehr. And meanwhile there, Tiramisu will begin to upgrade his rifleman and his captain with BARs, increasing his overall anti-infantry firepower, putting more of a chance than Caesar. Though the Sturmpaniers, the flamethrowers, will certainly help out, in particular as they gain more veterancy, they will just become better, and that's going to help out, I think, Caesar quite a bit there. And again, they're almost done, pushing southwards again, using the MG-34 to grab territory, all sitting up there to sort of reasonably cover up against counterattacks. So Caesar's actually managed to turn this around despite a rough start, though of course Tiramisu is very much in tech thanks to all the control there, and that does mean Caesar has very much reason to be worried about tanks. North here, Luke's dealing with a rifleman, low on health, low on numbers, and a tank gun nearby. Got the Sturmpanier advancing. We're noting, by the way, no flame BARs in those rifles. The Sturmpaniers could eventually move up there to clear them out easily. And there you go, double flamethrowers versus the assault engineers. Showing them who's the true Sturmpioneer. True assault engineers, since that was technically what the Sturmpanier were. Difference was the assault engineers were sort of specialists attached where we needed, whereas the Sturmpaniers, or pioneers in general, were just organically part of the division. There you go, rather than push back. Up north here, looks upon the Sturmpanier, going there for the anti-tank gun. Caesar is certainly looking a lot bolder and a lot braver now versus Tiramisu. They'll of course see how long that lasts once the tank hits. Trying to get the anti-tank, and there you go. You'll probably have to destroy it somehow, but the question is going to be a bit tricky as to how. He's going to use the Luke, so that's going to take ages. Though it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Need to retreat the folks, so they're going to wipe. They're going to get wiped. Got the Major though. Got the Major. Caesar, you probably try and take it as fast as possible. Rather than challenging the Sturmpaniers, definitely a bit of a mistake. They almost got the entire unit wiped. Halfway to Veteran 3 then. Sturmpaniers in the south, closing in on Veteran 4 very sharply. At that point, they sort of gain, there you go, more survivability and more damage. Meanwhile, rather than they're being cut to ribbons, and now the Sturmpanier squad number 2 is getting almost Veteran 3. This is going to get very ugly there quickly in that sense. If we can just use them correctly. Captain pushed back. Caesar once more on the offensive. Machine guns being set up at the points, and that one I think is a bad spot. I mean, it's pretty much going to be the straight in the way of any infantry. Bang points here. Could mine out a bit using his Sturmpaniers. That would not be a bad idea there, I think, for Caesar. A few mines. Up, moving too fast there. Moving too fast. But mines really, I think, should be a priority here and there. He has tried to lay sound down, but I think they're a bit too close to the enemy zones of action. Grab a go, Rafa attacking undercover the anti-tank gun. Tech happening for Caesar finally. In the centre, the looks rolling ahead. Aggressive MG-34 in a slightly awkward position there. Bit too easy to attack for Tiramisu. Rearson following up the bazooka teams. Like Kednev needs to go again. We can sort of see this is a pretty bad spot for it. MG-34 covering up the treat of the Fultz gun is out. Up north, Sturmpaniers got the point. He could have mined this, by the way. Again, he could have mined a lot more there. Overall, Sturmpaniers, Veteran 4. Next goal will be Veteran 5. You don't get to see those very often. But Caesar with Feuersturm certainly aren't done. It's definitely one of the better ways we actually want high veteran Sturmpaniers. Get them a flamethrower. They perform a lot better with it. A lot better. Spare particles up to cover the cutoff point and the fuel. Tiramisu can soon go for a Sherman tank. He's clearly not going for tank destroyers, though. Could also try and set up with the bulldozer Sherman. Looks like there's riflemen, negative cover, but assault rifles and a bit more veterans allow the folks there to persevere. In the centre, the Sturmpaniers struggle here versus the assault they go moving up. You could actually pop a grenade here. So many people neglect though the concussive grenade of the Sturmpaniers. Looks moving ahead, needs to be careful. There's still the anti-tank gun. Assault is being cut down by the Sturmpaniers again. Veteran 4 does a lot for them, and Veteran 5 does even more. Do not underestimate Veteran Sturmpaniers. If you can actually get them beyond Veteran 2, they become pretty good. MG-34 then needs to, I think, fall back for a bit of support. Bit of healing. So looking a bit overextended there. Both the cameras come in the centre. There he goes. Sherman on the way for Tiramisu and the 3rd Armoured Division. Rifleman shooting in the face of the Volksgrenadiers. Fun fact, 3rd Armoured Division was the division to suffer the heaviest armoured losses throughout the war, and also the highest losses in tank crews. I think they suffered like 900% turnover there amongst the tank crews. That's a sort of fun note there. It also meant they had the least experienced tank crews throughout the war. So that's a little fun note there about the 3rd Armoured Division. Overall, American Infantry and Tank Corporation, by the way, was not this strong. So there were generally issues throughout it with the one, particularly as the war got closer to the end. Things got even worse as neither side really wanted to risk out their neck, and so things got a bit bad between the two sides. And you've folding up the rifle nearly got Sherman moving in, and no anti-tank weapons in sight for Caesar. Those, thanks to both fuel points, they were able to get towards the Panzer IV, for example, pretty close. Still now in very much control of the map here versus Tiramisu. Tiramisu and the 3rd Armoured Division now on struggling in the face of the Panzerlehr, and the Sturm Pioneers are suddenly beginning to prove their worth and value. Once again, they pick up some experience. Moving up both the cameras, need to be careful though. Got an increasing large number of American infantry throwing themselves at the German, basically screening the anti-tank weapons as they try to go ahead. Luke's moving up, close to Vetchney Free, and there you go. Lakednev has shoot, but the Shermans long to the left, and there you go, forcing Lakednev to leave. Up close here, Vetchney Free and the Sturm Pioneer, but they need to retreat. Too many Thompsons, too many BARs. And of course, with Lakednev retreating, he can just counterattack with a Sherman again. So right there, Caesar might have made a bit of a blunder there in his eagerness to destroy the Sherman. He's basically showed Tiramisu where it was and then retreated it right in front of Tiramisu. So as soon as Tiramisu, of course, held both of those things, he knew what he could do. Back here, reinforcement healing. Further lack of mines, though. Oh, it looks like something went off there against the Sherman, but you can't quite take advantage of it here versus Tiramisu. He doesn't have any sort of immediate armor units inside. He could actually have gone here for Jagdpanzer. That would not have been a bad choice with all the veteran infantry machine guns. Following up with the Jagdpanzer that way, and he'll try and deal with any armor Tiramisu got up before him. Would actually have been a pretty good idea. Probably could have destroyed the Sherman then, at which point Tiramisu would have been a very, very bad spot. Obviously now it's going to have to be a Panzer IV or a Panther. I don't know, I probably would have saved up for a Panther here. I mean, his opponent's already got the tank out, so might as well try and push for, a slight advantage there, which is the Panther. I mean, unless you're sort of a bit reasonably ahead, I generally recommend going for the Panther over the Panzer IV in many circumstances. Particularly when he's got so good infantry. And again, he's got a Veteran 5 Sturm Pioneer squad. Now, those are, again, pretty rare to see. Well, it's pretty rare to see a Sturm player there with 2 Sturm Pioneer squads, and they're both at least Veteran 3. So that certainly stands out. Looks like with infantry up north. Panzer IV halfway done there for the Panzerlehr Panzerdivision. Van Grenade flushing out the rear, and Sherman they're almost good to go, but not quite. And we can see that Tiramisu is going to hit the fuel point again. Very good moves there by Tiramisu. Overall, not getting too focused on the centre versus Caesar, where Caesar does seem to have a slight tension. But there you go. In this case, Schwer Punted Quarters is here to save the day and cover calf point and fuel points, making it harder for Tiramisu to flank and harass for the south. Though the north is still an option there. Rather than being slaughtered by the Sturm Pioneers. We'll tax up through here. The soldiering is doing what they can, but ultimately they're overwhelmed and wiped here by the Sturm Pioneers. Rather than push back, Panzer moving to north, support the north. That way overwhelming Tiramisu there, as he doesn't have anything nearby to support. And what he had has in many cases been burned away by the Sturm Pioneers. Got the Panzer IV moving through the centre. Oh, going to catch the Sherman there in the rear. And Lakednev as well. Pretty bad situation here for Tiramisu's Sherman tank. Need to go there with the Panzer IV though. Careful. Caesar, far sick. Right into the bazookas, possibly into tank rifle grenades as well. And there we go. He might just been able to throw it all away. Now we can see that Tiramisu might be going. No, he's not going to rush in all against it. Machine gun holding up there. No sign of mines still here by Caesar. No mines. Of course, Tiramisu could have, when he had the chance, with the assault units, actually laid down a few mines here and there to make it harder for Caesar to push ahead, and that was obviously also something that Tiramisu neglected. Right, pushing ahead against the looks of the Sturm Pioneers. Sturm Pioneers actually need to be careful. They're half strength now. Would be a waste there for Caesar to throw those away, to put it mildly. They would, in fact, be downright criminal. I mean, there's at least Iron Cross first class holders there. And the South Jumper dealing with the captain here, but Not quite enough, and the Air Force were hit by the captain. In this case, negative cover, BARs, and Thompson up close. That proved a bit too much. And the Sturm Pioneers were also negative cover. Also, I think they weren't quite in the best condition there for CSAT. Trying through the centre, like Kennev was nearby, ready to open up. And damaged engine, taking down to half health. And Sherman almost down, tiny slip of health there, tiny slip of health. Panthers fall in the south, suffering some pathing issues, making it too slow to get ahead to the scene and act to assist versus the Sherman. A bit unfortunate there for Caesar, but he's going to go for it, he's going to go for it. Luke's also rolling in. We got a lot of things moving to block though. Oh, he's going to throw away the Lukes. The Luke's got taken out there, but it does take out the Sherman. It does take out the Sherman, but as Panther 4 there, it's going to get pelted again, and Nusley going to get taken out of the fight again. Got away this time. I suppose the looks for Sherman isn't a half bad trade, but that was a very veteran looks in comparison. Using that Kenner to go to the south, another Sherman there for Tiramisu. Caesar could go for a Flamhead here to deal with the infantry and the supporting elements. He could also opt for another Panther 4. That wouldn't be a bad choice. You could of course try and save up for a Panther. There's also the option where he just tries to go straight ahead for a King Tiger. But that could give Tiramisu plenty of time to get back into the fight. That's always a thing to keep in mind. You know, when do you go for a King Tiger? Well, generally, I'd recommend at least having a couple of medium tanks before you try and push for anything like that. Like, say, 2 maybe would be sort of a safe minimum there. And then you could, you know, try and make the move for the King Tiger. You only got 1 Panther 4. Pushing for a King Tiger is just not enough of, you know, solid armoured advantage to push ahead with safely. Because your opponent can then easily push ahead in Sherman tanks then. Overwhelm it and then push forward. So you could just go for a lot of M10s. So 1 Panther 4 I think is going to be too little for Caesar to really pull off a King Tiger move if that is what he's planning. I hope he's not, and again I would overall recommend him going for another Panther 4 or a Panther or something else to work with a Panther 4 beforehand. Forcing to retreat, Panther moving southwards. Catching those Yankees out in the open. Oberleutnant Fitz strikes. Catching another squad here. Fresh one from Tiramisu. Got the Sturm Pioneers advancing there. Again, one very close to actually falling the arm on Veteran 5. Troops are suppressed in the centre up north there. Nothing happening in terms of opposition there to Tiramisu. And there you go. Ramping pushed back. We've got Mars being laid down here by Caesar though. To screen the south there from harassment and also make it a bit harder to just rush down the tank, I guess. The battle group headquarters up with medics on the way certainly makes sense though. Would certainly help there with Caesar a bit. Need to retreat the MD-34, but that's not going to happen in time, so it's going to get overwhelmed and wiped. Guessing he moved it up and forgotten to retreat, at which point the machine gun will just automatically begin setting up, which usually can get it killed like it did there. Panzer moving up, we got the anti-tank and supporting, no anti-tank gun weapons there for Caesar on the other hand. Not in support either. So Panther 4 swiftly rolling southwards as Tiramisu secures the north there for the 3rd Armoured. Lots more mines here, using their ability to build stuff fast, including mines there. With a bit of veterans around them. Oh, flanked it with the empty Panther 4. They've got the anti-tank setting up though. Gets a good penetrating hit in the Panther 4. Follows moving up. The MD-34 falling back. It's going to need to retreat and enforce that one. And Panther 4 down to half health, forcing Caesar to pull that one back. You could consider some orbital dart in here versus Tiramisu. Actually, that would certainly help, I think, in some ways for a bit increased firepower. And there goes Sturm Pioneers moving ahead. Hunting down those Yankees. Troops are pressing the south. He can soon go for another Panther 4 if that is what he desires. We could of course try and set up for a Panther, in which case we can sort of get armoured advantage our way here versus Tiramisu, at which point he can then safely play for the King Tiger. Now, it's not really a good engagement. He keeps popping in the force in the church, but denies it, but at the same time they can just shoot freely there, whereas he can only shoot back with 1 man, so it's pretty much a bad engagement there otherwise. Ooh, Ravner getting slaughtered by the Sturm Pioneers of the Panther 4. Almost got the entire unit annihilated then. This entertainment actually falling back. This is a bit exposed. Kholodny Ferma's moving up. Back here, healing reinforcement going on. You could actually try and pop the recall losses if you want to. Or you could of course be setting up here for a rocket barrage to call in at the right time versus Tiramisu and catching his forces in disarray, destroying them from the skies. And we got orbs on the way there for Caesar. Some hardened German infantry, not a bad idea. Like Kholodny's landing several hits in the Sherman. Almost taking that again. And this time he doesn't have a look to rush in, but this time this shot missed. And once more just blitzes in the Panther 4 there. But this time he does have Blitzkrieg to escape with, but he's still pushing his light a bit of field. And there you go. Need to get out of there before it's too late. Strain to mind, suffers losses, but no suppression. There's still course of retreat there as Tiramisu does not wish to risk it, obviously. Fresh attacks in the north there as Caesar is finally getting over his center obsession and doesn't have to deal with the Tiramisu harass in the south. He can sort of put more pressure in there. MG34 causing problems. We've got a nice float, it's going to be a flank. Right, he's again either now playing for a Panther or a King Tiger. He's definitely got the resource for a Panther 4, but he's not going for it. So I hope it's a Panther because a King Tiger really would give Tiramisu plenty of time to bring up more armor. That way gaining a local advantage short term before the King Tiger hits, at which point the King Tiger is going to find himself less useful before the infantry has been blasted away by Sherman tanks. There you go, full retreat, machine gun, Panther 4 too much, plus of course the German infantry arriving. Orbis Lance clearing the south. You could actually use booby traps here, that would not be a bad choice I think for Caesar. And another Sherman there for Tiramisu. Interesting enough, he's gone for armor, but he's only so far used it for the assault unit. There's been no sign of M10s or 105mm bulldozers or Shermans. There you go, rifleman repulsed. But good German infantry. And they're going to be further setting up. Could try and rush it with a grenade. We could not. Victory points wise. We've got a small lead there for Caesar or Tiramisu. The Sherman is halfway done. He could actually use the captain to supervise the production of them brushing out faster, but most American players tend to neglect the ability of supervise, just its power. Panther 4 landing good hit, but taking hits there from the anti-tank gun, but gains veteran 2. That's a really good bit of veteran there for this Panther 4. Increased accuracy means a lot, therefore, in terms of lethality versus infantry and armor. And we got smoke screen from the Sherman, very good there. Smoking up machine gun in the church, making it harder here for Caesar to support his troops with it. Also isolating the troops caught on the other side of it. That's pretty good. They need to retreat the Sturm Pioneers. Don't force them away, Caesar. Scheiße. Rückzug. That was damn close there. That was damn close. Panther 4, Veteran 2, troops healing, reinforcing, setting out though, maybe being a bit rash there. He's almost got a second Veteran 5 Sturm Pioneer squad as well. That would certainly be a rarity amongst rarities. So many Veteran Sturm Pioneers. Always on the ding with a rifleman, but without any serious support, they're going to get focused down by 2 Veteran 3 riflemen, which is a bit much there for them to deal with. At this point, it's pretty clear Caesar is aiming for the King Tiger. There's no Panther there or Panther 4 on the way. And his opponent does have 2 Sherman tanks, which will soon fill up with third one, or M10s, or Jacksons. We'll have to see, of course, how Caesar make use of this King Tiger. Pushing forward here. Captain Noel being overwhelmed here. Van Hunt granada force on the way. Sherman on the move here for Tiramisu. From the northern point, Sherman's moving in. And he's almost got there. He's almost got the fuel. He just needs to save up the manpower for a bit. And forces the about to get wiped out by the Sherman. There we go. Local superiority, just allowing him to just demolish the German infantry. The Kholodny efforts moving up to support the Panther 4 here. They almost got one of the Shermans, but still, if we lose another Fulton squad, that's going to be a huge loss there for Caesar. There we go. Wipe these 2 infantry squads gone in a matter of moments. Punishing Caesar there for just not having enough armor on the field now, so that way counter any sort of rapid aggressive attacks there by Tiramisu. So again, about 500 manpower, but also just all the experience and the munitions invested in some loss there. That is a sizable blow there to Caesar's been able to keep his troops alive quite well, but, you know, suddenly losing 2 infantry squads limits a lot what he can do on the battlefield. I mean, he just went from having, well, 6 infantry squads to 4 infantry squads. So map control-wise, he's now much more equal there in terms of infantry to Tiramisu, who's still got the captain. But with the King Tiger out there, Caesar should have a good chance if he uses it, you know, aggressively, supports it properly. Though, of course, being short of 2 infantry squads to support it does make it a bit harder. Either way, Königstiger, effects bereit. So where will Caesar strike? With his feat of German engineering. This Colossus of Kruppstil. Second anti-tank on the way for Tiramisu, bringing up more. And he's also just revealed his King Tiger there. I mean, obviously you can hear the King Tiger. The engine sort of makes a distinctive noise across the map, but, you know, parking it right next to the victory point, though, further signals to Tiramisu there's a King Tiger. Also, it signals exactly where the King Tiger is, which is not exactly what Caesar should be aiming for. Although Tiramisu doesn't seem to pay attention to it. I suppose he's trying to play historically when in some cases the Americans ignored intelligence, or didn't get intelligence, you know, about things to be pretty resistant right under their nose. For example, in Normandy, they did not know that Omaha Beach was actually held by the 352nd Infantry Division. It was pretty well dug in, well, until they were under fire. Got Sherman flanking. He's going to try and hit the King Tiger from the rear. Good move, good move. Our Kenros are moving up. There you go. But at the same time, moves them straight into there, force them to retreat. Infantry moving up, need to get the Panzer up there to support. King Tiger needs to move in there to deal with as well. And there you go, Rifleman under fire, forced to retreat. King Tiger pulls ahead there. Sherman's quickly getting out of the way though. Was clearly not intending to fight it out, at least not head on. And there you go, both anti-tank. Well, one got cleared out. Resistance being suppressed. A lot of healing reinforcement here for Caesar. Germans quickly shifting up to another target, in this case going for the MG-34. How will Caesar react to this? Panther 4 now heading north, that's going to try and get behind. The King Tiger is just not even trying to move towards and engage head on. Or something like that. Maybe he's setting up for it now, hard to say there. Bit hard to say what Caesar's doing now. He seems to be pressured here by Tiramisu, but there you go, landing a good hit there on the Rifleman. Catching them there in the open and annihilating them with his main gun. There you go, Panther 4 trying from the north, trying to get behind here, but in this case, too many anti-tank guns. And recruiting the other one that was lost. The Kenworth was moving in, need to be, you know, ambushed a bit, so they're not quite so easy targets. In the south, Sturm Pioneer taking loss to the captain there, proving himself ever a nuisance. 27 kills. And there you go, Panther 4 isolated. Need to get out of there. Oh, he drives backwards instead of just trying to pull ahead. Okay, got Blitzkrieg. King Tiger is. I mean, in that regard, I do feel like Caesar's making one major tactical mistake there with his tanks. And for those of you, I mean, it's pretty obvious to spot it, because compare Caesar with Tiramisu. How is Tiramisu using his tanks together? How is Caesar using his tanks separately? As Guderian always liked to say, or at least wrote in his memoirs, you strike with a fist, not an open hand. The problem is, again, Caesar just scatters his armour out there, which to an extent works nicely defensively, but at the same time they get caught separately. It makes it a lot easier for Tiramisu, who concentrates his tanks to just overwhelm and destroy it. I mean, so far he's actually not been able to do a lot with the King Tiger, because he's constantly drumming it about there. And that's certainly one of the issues with the King Tiger. It's not a very good defensive tank unless you can force your opponent to actually attack it. But if you can't, it's terrible, you know, and which means in most cases it's actually not a very good move using the King Tiger defensively. You want to use it aggressively, that way forcing your opponent to have to engage it, or you force it into engagement. But right now, Caesar's very much playing his King Tiger defensively, which just begs the question, why did he go for it in the first place? And it's certainly one of, say, the graver mistakes you can make with the King Tiger. It's pretty much just using it like a lawn ornament. I mean, we'll see if it sort of pulls through and realizes error, but it's certainly not looking encouraging there, because the meanwhile, as predicted, Tiramisu is just bringing up more and more medium tanks. Also, very importantly, Caesar now trying to actually do a smaller thing with his King Tiger, rather than trying to anticipate where's the major armoured strike from Tiramisu going to blow. So that just makes Tiramisu's job here a lot easier, because that means, you know, when he strikes, for example, right down there, he knows, now, alright, the King Tiger's down there. It's not going to happen right away. And I can efforts, because I know Caesar will be bunching up together. I can smoke. So right there, Caesar just made it really easy there for just Tiramisu to just bash in there and take out his anti-tank guns. That was a secondary great area there tactically by Caesar against Tiramisu. Got a Sherman there. Lost like Kednev entirely. Anti-tank and fire there on the King Tiger. Needs to mention about support. Just going for light infantry, going for a bit of light artillery support here. Sturm Power trying to charge force there, having some luck. And he's blowing up the church empire to deny Caesar an anchor point, which to hold his centre defence against Tiramisu. There you go, good hit on the Sherman by the King Tiger. Another Sherman with there for Tiramisu. He's got plenty of things to replenish with. Almost got the Sherman there. King Tiger taking 2 minutes. Needs to retreat in the face of the anti-tank guns. The high rate of fire does make it a bit dangerous there. Also on the flanking, but we got Rifle there on the other hand, catching the Oberson there in a bad spot. Need to retreat the Obersoldaten because he's not paying attention, meaning the Rifle are just getting 3 hits there. So there you go, both Sturm Pioneers, now both virtually, almost virtually fired. They're quickly getting to work, they're fixing up the King Tiger. Sherman on the way there for Tiramisu. Certainly a bit rough here. Another Panther 4 I think would be a good choice. Or actually a Panther. Never mind, I would actually say a Yak Panzer here now I'm thinking about it. I mean, the King Tiger deal with infantry, so can his lead infantry. But I need something to more steadily deal with the tanks. And he lost his machine gun there. Awkward positioning. And that way the Yak Panzer will be much more, good deterrent there against the armour. Good range, good rate of fire and so on there. Got the machine gun back, they almost wiped the rifle squad. Veterans one for the Königstiger and its mighty veteran crew. So there you go. King Tiger good to go again. Panther 4 halfway down there for Caesar. And once again, note he's dispatching his King Tiger to deal with even the slightest harassment. That's not really how you want to use the King Tiger if possible. And again, you want you to fight the big battles. And instead, Caesar is choosing to fight every small engagement using his King Tiger. And obviously, again, he wants superiority and a chance. The problem is, it just means the rest of his forces, and there again, is much more exposed and, allows Tiramisu just to dash in there. And this is also, again, where Yak Panzer will be much more suited to just, help deal with the Shermans alongside the King Tiger. There you go, attack for the centre again. He's not in recruit like Kednev. He's only got a single Panther 4 now to deal with this. And his King Tiger is once more far removed from the actual fighting there. So Caesar, he's sort of repeating a bit the same mistake over and over again here versus Tiramisu with his King Tiger, and for that matter, the rest of his armour. Tagging head on. Straight to the two anti-tank guns, in this case quite prepared for it. Using armor piercing rounds to quickly deal a lot of damage to the King Tiger, down its engine. Getting a nice hit on the rifle, and his Sturm Pioneers are still alive. Some of the few units he actually got remaining, though the Sturm Pioneers might actually risk being wiped. Getting engaged by all 3 Shermans. Panther 4 moving in to deal with all 3 Shermans on their own. Not the best move there by Caesar either. Of course, he can't quickly get the King Tiger up there because he got a damaged engine. So now the Panther 4 on its own. We got a cannon for the recruit, but not set up fast enough. Bring up the King Tiger support there. But again, very slowly, gets a good hit there. Cannon for destroyed. Again, we got the anti-tank guns moving ahead. Infantry needs to get battle action ready here for him. You could actually consider popping recruit losses just to get more manpower that way. So just quickly free up fresh forces for the front line. But there you go. Tiramisu here, by the way, displaying a good, I would say, overall hit and run tactics with the Sherman who moves in there, deals a lot of damage, disengages. He doesn't try to linger longer than he needs to. He also tries to actually engage the King Tiger head on. And of course, in that regard, Caesar is doing Tiramisu a huge favour by using his King Tiger to deal with, Bob, Joe, and Billy Bob, harassing the south, rather than trying to set up for a big engagement that's going to be more naturally favoured by the King Tiger. And this is also, if that's how he wants to use the King Tiger, better off just going for Panther 4s. I mean, again, he could probably, at this point, have 3 Panther 4s out, which could have challenged the Shermans a lot better, and also, being much faster, might be able to react and move. So the King Tiger just ends up feeling like a doubly terrible choice there by Caesar, to be honest. Not just because he went for one with only one tank to really support the front line, but also just because of the way he's utilising it. It just seems much more obvious, at least to me, that he'd really just want more medium tanks rather than a King Tiger. Almost getting a wipe there. Small victory for Caesar and the Panzer. And we got another strike here. Is King Tiger this time a bit more ready to deal with it? Turning its mighty turret. Good hit there. Need to get the Panther up the support. Striking at the Schwer Panther's quarters, trying to take it out. Anti-tank gets moving ahead. You should actually try and flank behind that. We could try and catch off the anti-tank because you'd be knowing by now that Tiramisu likes to keep his anti-tank close to his armor. Pull back the Panther 4. Shielded from the anti-tank guns. Betty 2 and the King Tiger. Very good. So good. So good. Good hit there. Almost got another Sherman. You could actually blitz ahead here, get past the anti-tank guns, then destroy them. Instead, he remains in front of the anti-tank guns with armor-piercing rounds, then decides to blitz ahead, taking severe damage to the King Tiger. I mean, and he just blitzed forwards, going behind the anti-tank guns. He could have destroyed them, and that would have left Tiramisu very weak now against the King Tiger. Since that was one of his better ways of dealing with it. So that was a bit of a tactical blunder there by Caesar. Nice forced retreat. Some Sturm Pioneers to repair. There is going for repair Pioneers now. More Shermans are there for Tiramisu and the 3rd Armour Division. 18 victory points left for Caesar. Mine goes off there, kills a few anti-tank and crewmen. Folks, they're being overwhelmed, murdered. Sherman moving into the Northern Sturm Pioniere. Flam heads out here. I think there's desperation there from Caesar. Calling in the Flammenhetzer. And Sturmpire's about to get wiped with the Sherman. He actually now has 2 vets and 5 Sturm Pioneer squads. I mean, thumbs up to Caesar for achieving that. That is a rarity. Good hit there on the Sherman by the King Tiger, closing in on veteran 3. We've got the Flammenhetzer straight to the centre of right into both anti-tank guns. And the results are pretty obvious. The Flammenhetzer doesn't stand a chance. 14 points left. Almost all 3 victory points are in the hands of Tiramisu. And with this, I'd say it is GG for Caesar. GG. Overall, I'd say the loss basically boils down to Fuhrer Syndrome and then not knowing what to do with the King Tiger Syndrome. As opposed to like extreme Fuhrer Syndrome. So there you go, GG, game over. And Caesar again, had a rough start, but managed to pull around there, getting control of the centre, but then he had an advantage and failed to solidify it with, I think, sufficient mines, but also going for the King Tiger. And really, if you have an advantage, going for a King Tiger with just 1 tank is usually the best way to remove said advantage. You always want at least, I think, 2 tanks to sort of, act as a base before you then push for the King Tiger. With only 1 tank, you can easily just be pushed out of the field by numerous tanks from your opponent because allied medium tanks are pretty cheap. So with that move there, Caesar pretty much just gave Tiramisu the initiative, and we can see that Tiramisu really knows how to handle Sherman tanks. He was good at attacking here and there, and more importantly, he was good at attacking around the King Tiger. It didn't help, though, again, that Caesar was very good at using his King Tiger. Things that was pretty much used as that, which, trying to deal with harassment. It's not a Lux, it's a King Tiger. You already used it defensively, could have used it more offensively, forced Tiramisu to have to deal with it. Rather, again, he gave Tiramisu the option of having to ignore it. That's not how you want to use the King Tiger. So it really just came down to trying to go for a King Tiger and then using the King Tiger really poorly. I think that cost Caesar the match here versus Tiramisu. Again, Tiramisu just playing really well around it. The odds was a huge deal. I mean, I'm not just going to say, Tiramisu only won because Caesar was bad. No, Tiramisu won because he knew how to use his bloody medium tanks, he knew how to use them well, and he knew how to ignore the King Tiger. A lesser player would just try to destroy the King Tiger. Tiramisu knew he didn't have to. He just had to play around it. And in this regard, Caesar very much obliged Tiramisu. So, I mean, it is very important to keep in mind how you use your tanks and how you want to use them. Because, again, if you're going for a King Tiger, you want to use it offensively. You do not want to use it to react to every single small harassment or small-scale attack. That was a big mistake there by Caesar. I think that the rule cost him the game long-term. Again, rule of thumb, if you want to go for a King Tiger, at least get 2 medium tanks or something else out there to support. He would also, I think, at some point benefit from a Yak Panther too, or a Panther. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in a reply and feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Lensing Cheers. A big thank you to all my patron supporters, with which this episode would not have been possible. And see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.